The Chapter 6 map is filled with more secrets and references than ever, hinting at Chapter 1's grand return, unreleased skins, secret places no one's found, and even callbacks to OG Fortnite, including the return of the guided missile. This is every secret detail you missed, and that starts with Chapter 1's permanent return as a mode being right around the corner, and Epic already snuck in a neat Easter egg that only a few people noticed. You may remember last year for the Fortnite OG key art, Fortnite actually showed us the other side of the original Chapter 1 Season 1 key art, featuring Jonesy looking behind him to see the time traveling skins. And now Epic has done it again. In the new key art for Fortnite Chapter 1 Season 1, you can actually see that it's a continuation of the famous supply drop loading screen, and that's something they may continue doing for every Chapter 1 season that's gonna be replayed. And speaking of Chapter 1 and its secrets, another Easter egg that might have caught your attention is available for everyone on the new Chapter 6 island. That's right, simply traverse back to the map's outskirts and you won't help but notice that the big wooden crab from Chapter 1 has made his return. This was part of the many animals built by either wood, brick, or metal back in Chapter 1, and so we can assume this is a neat Easter egg to celebrate Chapter 1's return. And alongside the return of Chapter 1 though, it's likely we're going to see the return of another familiar face, which is being teased with a new skin. Of course, I'm talking about everyone's favorite Peely, who Epic can't stop making new skins for. It's almost guaranteed every season he's bound to get a new one, and this time is no exception, because in-game you can find a small secret on the clothing of the Kendo skin, and it looks to be a cucumber Peely. He even has his emote in the battle pass where he slices up some cucumbers, so this definitely looks to be a teaser for a new skin coming soon. And the Chapter 1 references don't end there though, as on the Chapter 6 map lies a huge trap that is a callback to one of the most popular Chapter 1 moments. While exploring the new island, you might have come across a hill with a classic sign from Chapter 1. These told players not to dance, but back then if you did it, there were no consequences. But now, the inhabitants of the island have stepped it up, because if you emote now, you're going to be launched off the hill to your inevitable death. And something else true OGs are bound to remember is a small detail on a classic weapon that's making its return. Epic heard our prayers and are giving us all the OG models for the OG weapons in the new OG game mode. And with that, an iconic reference could now be found again on the TAC shotgun. Take a look at it and you'll realize that it still has the same snake game on its little iPad after 5 entire years. In addition to the return of that, we're also supposed to see every OG model of weapons return. The revolver, pump, but that also includes Fortnite's very own guided missile. Files related to it have now been updated, so we could expect to see it coming to OG soon. It was originally added in Chapter 1 Season 3, so in about 3 months time, give or take, it may be coming. Because as you can see, Chapter 6 is full of its references, and there's many lying inside of the new POIs. There's dozens from Whiffy Wharf to Lost Lake, Night Shift Forest, Shogun Solitude, you get the idea. But if you head over to the Thousand Faces shop over at Masked Meadows, you'll spot that there's many masks referencing different Fortnite characters. You can see Cluck, a Kitsune mask hinting at Catalyst, Fishstick, Meowscles, and even some new ones. But the most notable mask of them all is teasing a brand new outfit. You might remember a leaked survey skin from a while back showing a baboon skin. And now you can spot his mask alongside the other familiar characters, so it's an indication we should see his skin very soon. And what we could also be seeing soon is a new iconic crossover with one of the most successful animated franchises ever. In a new line of dialogue by the Empress Mizuki NPC, she references a dragon warrior, and you might already know where this is going. This could very well be foreshadowing the arrival of Kung Fu Panda as a collab in Fortnite. How a post skin would work is a concern to many people, but we're already seeing the Godzilla skin, so it's clear Epic can make anything do, and it remains to be seen whether or not this is actually going to happen. But a big reference, however, to one of Chapter 1's most dazzling mysteries is hidden in the Twinkle Terrace POI. If you happen to pay a visit, you'll see that in it there's a house fully dedicated to one of Fortnite's oldest factions, the Fox Clan. Inside you'll find references to all their members like drift flags or the outline of others such as V, Vox, Kimiko, Five Tails, and even their pet Kitsune. The craziest part is that it was foreshadowed years ago in the V loading screen, where we see members of the Fox Clan running around in an unknown POI. And after all this time, we finally got this place. But another reference to the Chapter 1 story is that of the mysterious artifact that's fallen from the sky into the Chapter 6 map. In its place, you could find a crater referencing the events of the meteor from Chapter 1, but the artifact itself is nowhere to be found just yet. So it looks like this will be something we have to keep an eye on for throughout the entire season. The strange object wasn't the only thing that crashed on the map though, as by the looks of it, Fortnite's already referenced Chapter 2 remake. 6. Traversing the new snow mountains, you might have come across a strange crashed plane. Not only is it a reference to Chapter 2 remix, which we just left, but also a callback to Chapter 5 as well, where we saw a similar crashed plane atop snowy mountains, which now leads players to think that there's somehow a connection between the three and their recurring appearances. Another connection many people notice is that of a similarity between a new POI and one from Fortnite Chapter 3. You might have seen Hopeful Heights or even visited it, which is a brand new location themed entirely around our new protagonist, Hope, and players couldn't help but notice that this is very similar to the time that Jonesy got his own whole POI themed around him back in Chapter 3 in the form of the Joneses. This is a pretty neat callback considering Jones has been a mentor to Hope for the last 4 seasons, and now you could even find both of them living under the same roof plotting their next move on the new island. But beneath the island you can also find a hidden basement with a few interesting Easter eggs from Chapter 2. The one you won't help but instantly spot is the gnome from Chapter 2, who had once taken over another similar basement as his base of operations, and now he's done it again. In the same room you could also find Midas's gold chair, which we have no idea how it ended up here, but it's cool to see nonetheless. And it's not the only secret place in Chapter 6, as by driving around the map you should come across a huge tunnel that's being built underneath the mountain. So it looks like there will be construction going on for the rest of this season. But if you take a look off in the distance, you won't be able to miss another enormous snow mountain that stands high and mighty. At first, many people speculated this was a volcano that would lead to the chapter's end event, but after a more careful look, you'll realize this is actually a reference to the infamous Japanese mountain, Mount Fuji, and what better map for it to be on than this one. But something many people forget is there was another map with lots of similar references, which was the Chapter 4 map with its mega biome. A prime example is the new lighthouse in Chapter 6, which is actually identical to the ones we saw in Chapter 4. And it makes sense as this island is actually the same place that the mega biome was rifted in from the Chapter 4 map, where you can see buildings coming in the trailer. There's another returning landmark from Chapter 4, and it wouldn't be a proper map if we didn't have it here for Winterfest. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Crackshot Cabin, which was also in Chapters 1 and 2, so it looks like it's just too iconic to be removed. But there's another artifact from Chapter 4 that's made its return, and this one is arguably the most important and hilarious at the same time. You may recall coming across some strange frog statues back in Chapter 4 and especially around the mega biome. Now we know where they originated from because there's a landmark called Fighting Frogs featuring a small dojo and multiple frog statues both watching and fighting within the arena. Speaking of frogs though, another important return to the Chapter 6 map is the frog family from Chapter 5. After everything that we saw them go through last season, it looks like they survived to tell the tale and are all living happily in a small hill similar to their own from the last map. So we should keep an eye on them in the next few updates. But on the other side of the map, over at the Night Shift Forest where it's always night, there's actually a secret way to restore sunlight to the location. That's right, because you simply need to find one of the new sprites that run around the map and bring it to Bushranger, who's an NPC at the location. Upon doing so, sunlight will be restored and you'll even be granted a key to open a secret vault door found at the POI. But speaking of other locations on the map, have you noticed anything peculiar within them? Because I'm referring to the new robot servants that have been seen across the whole map. They seem to be running everything around the island from office jobs to even simple care of houses, so it looks like the inhabitants of the island evolved enough for them to fully automate everything inside. And speaking of automated things, another thing you're unlikely to have noticed is the new auto-collect feature within the Battle Pass. Correct, because Battle Stars are now a thing of the past, as they've been replaced by Universal XP, allowing you to progress every Fortnite Pass simultaneously. You can automate the reward collection process in the Battle Pass page, and it will work precisely like it used to back in Chapter 1, by collecting everything in order and without you needing to claim every single reward one by one. But that's been everything new in Fortnite Chapter 6, so like and subscribe for more updates.